pitches it back to the line. Murray, winds, scores!
So welcome back to another episode of our Atlantic Hockey Group Speaker Series. We have an awesome guest on the show today. Probably one of the most impressive resumes I've seen when it comes to hockey. He's actually a Riverview, New Brunswick native. He played mid at AAA here in Moncton before going on to the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, where he played for the Acadie Bathurst Titans as well as the Voltigeurs. After his Q career, he played 4 years at the University of New Brunswick, where he racked up a ton of awards, including Rookie of the Year, a couple national championships, multiple Defenseman of the Year nominations, just a crazy resume. And then he made a jump to professional hockey, where he started his career with the Belleville Senators before they moved over to Belleville, Ontario. So they're now the Belleville Senators. So Jordan, that's a heck of a resume you got. And I guess, yeah, let's welcome to the program, Jordan Murray.
Awesome, Brandon. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So, Jordan, obviously the big news that just happened yesterday is the cancellation of the American Hockey League season. I guess what's your reaction? Is that something that you were expecting to happen or a bit of a surprise? Or?
Yeah, I mean, in the back of my mind, I always knew it was probably going to be the final outcome, but it's unfortunate. I think we had a team that could probably go deep, if not win it all this season. So that stings a little bit extra, but everyone's health and safety is first and foremost, the most important thing. So, it is what it is.
And for you, has it been tough to kind of stay busy, stay active? I know we were talking a little bit off the air about maybe the challenges that presents. Like, I mean, what have you been doing to stay busy, stay engaged?
I mean, the first month was tough because, the rules are pretty strict out here. Everyone kind of had to stay inside unless it was essential to go outside. And, that was tough. I played a lot of video games in those in that first little month there. But the restrictions have kind of eased up a little bit out here now. So I've been playing a lot of golf lately, which is nice. Played 5 or 6 rounds already. And then I got lucky. One of my best friends, he has a really nice home gym. So I've been able to do my workouts at his place, and he's in my bubble family. So no one worry about that. And that's pretty much it. Golfing and working out. It's pretty much just like a typical summer.
And obviously, you're a proud hockey product of Riverview, New Brunswick. A lot of young kids out there listening. I mean, when you look back to your minor hockey days, can you maybe talk us through a little bit of your minor hockey experience and maybe some special memories that you have?
Yeah, I played hockey here in Riverview until I was 12, I think, and then I actually went and played on your team, Pew AAA. We played together, so that was a lot of fun. And then I played Bantam AAA for 2 years in Moncton, and then my first 2 years of midget, so 15 and 16 years old, I got cut from the Flyers in the midget AAA team in Moncton. So I played midget minor for those 2 years, had a blast. Learned a lot. I got to play a ton too. I was Coach Kenny Brown. He's a great guy. He played me a ton of minutes every game, so that helped me a lot in my development. And then I got kind of lucky my second year of midget. The Moncton Flyers had a really good team. They tore up the Quebec or the midget AAA league out here, and then they had some injuries going into playoffs. So I was able to get called up. Probably played 2 or 3 shifts a game, and got to watch them win the New Brunswick PEI championship, and then Atlantics, and then we went to TELUS Cup, which was in Selkirk, Manitoba, just outside of Winnipeg, and I think we finished 5th there, but it was an unreal experience. You got to play against the best players in Canada at that age group. Met a lot of really cool guys, and it was definitely a trip of a lifetime.
And for you, I don't know if you would call yourself maybe a late bloomer, but it's pretty amazing that you went from being cut from mid AAA to now reaching the professional levels. In your career, was there a year where maybe you hit that big growth that you kind of really stepped your game up that really made you reach these higher levels? Or was there a year in your career where things really sort of changed for you?
I think when I was at University of New Brunswick going into my 3rd season, that summer actually was the first year I got invited to anything to do with the NHL. I got invited to Ottawa Senators development camp, actually. So that was my first camp that I went to. And, going there and seeing these prospects, I said, you know what, these guys, obviously they're very good hockey players, but I'm just as good as them. So that was definitely a big confidence boost. And then that following summer, so going into my 4th year at University of New Brunswick, had a few offers to go to development camps, ended up deciding to go to Toronto, which was my childhood team. I went to their training camp and then was lucky enough to get invited to Tampa Bay main camp in the spring, or in the fall, sorry. So then that was kind of an eye-opener for me that I was actually on the ice with NHL players in the training camp, and I didn't look too out of place. So I think those 2 years were big for me in understanding that I could probably make a career out of this if I put my mind to it and worked hard.
And you have a really unique aspect to your story, which I think is really amazing too, is that for a lot of your career, you were actually a forward, and until you made a transition to becoming a defenseman, a very professional, high caliber defenseman. I mean, can you talk about maybe that transition and what brought that on?
Yeah, I guess so. Actually, it came back with the Flyers there. They had, like, I think 4 or 5 of their top defensemen were hurt, and they really didn't have anyone else they could call up. So when I went up, they kind of just said, can you play defense? And I just wanted to get on the ice as much as possible, so I told them that I could. Kind of just learned on the fly, and I guess it's worked out really well. I think that playing forward has it gave me a little bit of better view of the ice and just kind of understanding where the forward should be. It's worked out, so I can't really complain about that switch.
Yeah, because obviously you've been a very offensive defenseman for your career. I know, looking back at the last couple of years in Belleville, I think you had the very first hat trick in Belleville Senators history. You've racked up some big goals. I mean, is that how big of a part of the game, I guess, is that the offensive aspect of the way you play?
Oh, it's definitely something I pride myself in. But that being said, I don't want to just label myself as strictly an offensive defenseman. I've worked a lot on the defensive aspect of the game in order to try to get more minutes against some of the top end players in the league. So I mean, the offensive stuff, the offensive side of it is kind of always, I guess it's been there for me a little bit, but I always want to keep working and trying to get better.
And for you, you talk about being cut from your mid at AAA, and obviously I'm assuming perseverance is a big part of your career and really kind of working hard to reach that next level. I mean, looking back at when being cut from mid at AAA and even being undrafted in the Q, did that give you a lot of extra motivation when you were younger to really push yourself to become a better player?
It definitely did give me a little bit extra motivation, but the biggest thing for me when I was young is I wanted to play hockey. It didn't matter where it was. I mean, I love playing hockey. It's where I'm the most comfortable is when I'm out playing hockey with my buddies out on the ice. So, I mean, yeah, it sucked that I wasn't able to make those teams and I got cut, but it's how you deal with adversity that makes you a stronger person. So, the biggest thing for me was just the love of the game, and I always had good friends on those teams and just made the best of it and enjoyed myself.
And I just kind of want to talk about your university career, because it's impressive, your resume. So you were on the all rookie team. I think you were rookie defenseman of the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in your first season, you racked up defenseman of the year in 2015, defenseman of the year in 2016, 2017. I hope I didn't miss one. You made a couple of first team all Canadian teams. U Cup tournament All-Star 2015. These were just unbelievable sort of accomplishments. Looking back at your UNB career, winning a couple national championships, I mean, how big of a role was that really on just becoming, I guess, the player you are today?
Oh, that was awesome. Before going to UNB, I thought I could play maybe in the East Coast, maybe get a few games in the American League, but going there, it really brought out the confidence in me. And I'm not a cocky hockey player or anything like that, but it gave me the confidence to know that I can go out there and be one of the best players in Canada at that point. And obviously, being at UNB, we had some pretty good hockey teams. I think there's a few years we might have only lost 5 or 6 games. So it was to play with the caliber of players there. Like, you look at a guy like Phil Maillet, he just put up almost 60 points in the American League this year. It's pretty easy when you're playing the top on the power play and all you got to do is just put it in his wheelhouse and let him do the rest. So, I mean, I was a product of some pretty good players around me, but it was definitely a lot of hard work and determination to win all those accolades and those national championships.
And UNB, I don't know if it's still the winningest program in CIS history. I know it was for a while between them and the Golden Bears, but does that rub off on you? Being a part of such a professional program, does that give you certain, I don't know if it's certain skill sets or certain ways of looking at the game that kind of rubs off on you?
Definitely. So, at UMB, it's not that they put hockey over athletics, but with academics, sorry, but it's up there. They're neck and neck, and they take their hockey program very seriously there. They run it honestly like a professional hockey team. They might not have some of the resources that some of these AHL teams have with their budgets, but they do a very good job at making it a professional atmosphere. And your goal going there is to win as many national championships as you can. I hadn't really won the national championship or any sort of championship going into UMB, so that was my main goal, was to win there. I was lucky enough to win 2 and lose in the finals and another one. So I gained a lot of big game experience there, and winning trumps all out. So it was an unbelievable experience playing there.
And then obviously you made your jump to professional hockey. I think you signed your first contract in 2017 for the then Binghamton Senators. I mean, like when you made that jump to professional hockey, was it a huge difference for you in kind of the university versus professional game? Or like, can you maybe talk a little bit about the transition for you for going to professional hockey?
So actually, it was after we had won our second national championship, and guys that already started going to pro teams. I know I was rooming with Phil Maillet, and he went to Ontario, which is in California, almost 2 days after we had won. And
wow.
I had a couple offers to go play in the East Coast. And I know Gardner McDougall, he said to me, he said, just don't take anything too soon. He said, just wait, just be patient. Something in the American League will come. So I waited actually 2.5 weeks of no hockey and just kind of celebrating a championship and getting back into the swing of things with school. And then I got a call from Binghamton, and they said they needed a defenseman for the last 6 games of the season. So I said, I'll go. It was only 6 games, but I was able to play pretty well and earn myself a contract. And the biggest thing is I was a little bit out of shape to go into into those 6 games, but just the speed and the size of the guys, it was a whole nother level. I think I adapted pretty well and pretty quickly to it, but it's definitely been a lot of hard work and determination to end up where I am.
And maybe for some advice for some kids out there that are listening, because I mean, like you said, like you had 6 games to really make a big impression to get that kind of that contract, I guess. Like for the kids out there that maybe have a tryout or maybe get called up from an A team to a AA team, I mean, what advice would you give them, kind of looking at your history in making that jump to the professional hockey side?
I think the biggest thing is to just do what you're good at. There's a reason that you are there. There was a reason that I got called up to Binghamton. It was because I was good enough to play at that level. So I think is to try to not be someone that you're not. Just to go out there and do what you're good at. There's a reason you're there, and go out there and prove them right.
And one thing that I'm really amazed at, like kind of, when you're back home for the summer, is the way you carry yourself. I mean, you're the consummate professional. You're a great role model, great ambassador, particularly for the folks in Riverview, like the players that look up to you. I mean, like, is that important for you, like giving back to the community and kind of being that good role model for younger aspiring players?
Definitely. And I'll actually go back to UMB for this one. One of the first things that Gardner McDougall said to me when I was recruited to UMB, he said, you're going to be a person a lot longer than you're going to be a hockey player. So that kind of stuck with me, is, this hockey thing is only going to last for so long. And do I want to be known as a hockey player who was, cocky, maybe a bit of a just not a nice person, and so I've always kind of tried to pride myself on that. And obviously the way I was brought up, my parents are really nice people. They're great people. They put some good morals in me. So, it's just, you're going to be a person a lot longer. You're going to be a hockey player. So it's kind of how you want to be remembered.
Yeah, and that's great advice for the kids out there that are listening, whether you make your AA team or you play professional hockey like Jordan. To be a good person is first and foremost. And kind of touching on that, I know you've helped us and you've done some coaching in the summer. Is that something that you enjoy, is the coaching side of the game, in addition to the playing?
Oh, I love it. I love, when you show a kid a drill and, he struggles the first few times, and then you see him finally get it and how happy he is to finally do it. It's a really cool feeling, to do that. And I just love working with the kids, and I love sharing my knowledge of the game. I feel like I have a pretty good hockey mind. So, it's definitely something that I'd look forward to in the future, is coaching.
No, that's awesome. And I guess kind of touching off the interview, and we really appreciate your time. We know you're busy doing training and getting ready for hockey whenever it comes around. But
hopefully on
like
time.
exactly. I guess maybe some parting words of wisdom for the kids out there that might be listening, whether they're novice players, Bantam players. I mean, is there any maybe last words of wisdom you have for them?
I say just fall in love with the game. This game's done a lot for me. It's taken me all over North America. It hasn't taken me all over the world yet, but I've met some great people. Had a lot of good times, a lot of tough times, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And if you're good enough, someone will notice you. You don't just keep working hard and keep your nose to the grindstone. And if you're good enough, someone will notice you, and it should work out if you work hard enough.
And again, we want to thank Jordan Murray for coming on our speaker series here, and I wish you all the best in the off season and the years to come.
Awesome, Brandon. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks a lot.